In part one, the house. We're going to start from the hook, the intro, and the house. So when the film opens up, you see the sun rising over the world. They're on the East Coast, so the sun is rising in the east. Now, I know something in the order or whatever they got going on. Let me tell y'all, I don't know nothing about nothing. I just researched some things. Now, as the sun rises in the east is something that they use. That's a term, I believe. Okay. Now, in the Bible, it talks about lightning rising in the east. And it's kind of like the coming of Christ, right? Or the Messiah coming back, I'm assuming. People who read the Bible and know your word, let me know if I'm right. But in Matthew 24:27, it says, "For the lightning cometh out the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." Now, in that same verse in 24, further down, there's a lot of similarities to this film. Water is used in this film a lot. Pay attention to the water in the background of the bed, the headboard in the home. It intensifies. Like, it'll look one way, and as we go along, the water changes on the mural on the wall. Now let's go back to the beginning of the film, Amanda and Clay's home. Now, when we go to the home, you have this low angle shot with 6 window panes, right? But they're in rows of threes. But you have the 3 window panes inside the home in yellow curtains, or yellow or gray curtains, right? The number 3 is a representation of the color yellow, and it also means communication in numerology. Now, let's discuss the 6s. You have that 6 on the 76. You have that 6:30 on the clock next to him. And then you have the 6 on the digital clock that is covered by a cup. Now, the number 6 is a representation of time, friendship, home, and the color blue. There's a heavy reference to the show Friends. Friends had 6 cast members in that show. And then the letter F starts with the letter 6. So we will later see further in the film that there will be 6 people living together. Tesla had this theory of, that's the only 3 numbers, 3, 6, and 9, that can exist without losing its energy. I don't know if this is demonic or not. I've been hearing people say that, but you take what you will from that. And here's something else. I always want to know why a writer names their characters what they name them. The character name is Amanda. The name Amanda can be translated to loved by God, right? Or it could be translated into loved very much by everyone. And I thought that was funny because she said she can't stand people. Now let's get into the intro with all of these symbols. So you have the red, black, and white. Those 2 are colors. That's kind of like universal colors used everywhere. In that intro, you have several things going on. You have the image of the cars. You have the image of the teeth. The Statue of Liberty is upside down. The flag is upside down. There's a lot of things going on there. But then you see waves. There are waves. And then it turns into an all-seeing eye. The eye of providence. That particular eye, then the lining of it goes into the telephone line to go to the next scene, which I thought was a really dope thing, which connected the whole thing of communication and electronics, which we're going to see in this next part. So now we enter into the car. Everyone is using some form of technology or communicating with outside things instead of with each other. Everyone in this car has on some form or shade of blue, except for the mom, I think. But she's going to do that later. We'll discuss that later. But if we look at the communication and the technology that they're using, they're all using some form of technology. the mom's on her cell phone, the father is playing the radio, the son is playing a video game, and the daughter is watching Friends on her pad that's also blue. The exterior of the car is blue. I just was like, okay, I get it. Okay, guys, I get it. Now, what I found interesting about the son, Archie, the son name is Archie and the daughter name is Rose or Rosa, something like that. But Archie has on a blue shirt with a red symbol on the front and checkerboard pants. And it looks like in floor checkerboard, right? So I never knew what that meant. But allegedly, that means the moral fallibility of mankind, ignorance, and base consciousness, right? Now, if you look up the word fallibility, the example that they give is technology is not a cure for human fallibility. Let that sink in. So now they pull up to the black and white home, and then the screen says part 1 in red house. All right. So the home, you don't know who lives there, and she's curious, but she don't really care at this point, right? And she's walking around the home, and I was like, okay, who is in charge of this soundtrack? Because they started playing Never Gonna Let You Go by Blackstreet. I found this to be hilarious, right? And the reason why is because the home is owned by Black people, and that song played even when she got to the grocery store as the elevator music. What I noticed too was the store name, Point Comfort. And that is something that is going to play in effect later on. So something that I noticed when they were going to the beach, they rode in this like circle that looks like the power sign. And you know, the power sign is like the binary of like the 0 and the 1 put together. And I found that to be ironic as well, because that is another form of play on technology, because the circle and the power sign is found on all devices, right? So I was like, this is real clever of the director to add this in. Another thing that happens is when they're on the beach, there we go with the blue, white, and yellow again. The mother, Amanda, has now put on this blue shirt. The little girl has on a blue, white, and yellow bathing suit. And the father and the son still have on their same outfits. Now, this particular scene had a message to it twice. Well, a message and a form of education, right? So the little girl was sitting there. I take her as the media. She's telling her parents are the people. She says, the ship is coming and it's heading our way. Her parents, they see it and they're like, oh yeah, it looks big. Oh yeah. They're discussing it, but they're not making a move. She says it again, but it looks like it's coming this way. No one moves. Just like the people, when there's a disaster or something that's being told to us to do, we don't move. It wasn't until that ship came all the way up to shore, skid and the daggone singing, for everybody to start running. So like we do in life, we can be warned about, hey, disaster is coming, something's coming, and sometimes we'll wait till the last minute and it could be chaotic, right? Now, how Point Comfort comes back into play. The White Lion is a slave ship that landed in Point Comfort, and it had 20 to 30 slaves on there. And according to reports, the 2 slaves that was on that ship, Isabella and Anthony, had a child named William, if I'm not mistaken, and he is the very first Black child or Black person that was ever documented, like physically documented in the country. So I'm assuming they put the ship here for 3 reasons. maybe, or one of the three, to show that the black folks were coming to disrupt their peace, right? Disrupt their vacation like the ship did, or to show that GH and his daughter are descendants of the William Tucker, or to show the origin of where our prejudices started through slavery. It's one of the three or all three. I don't know, but I was like, that's interesting that they will put this here, and this ship just disrupted everyone's comfort level. We go back into the theme of connection because they're playing Jenga. And if you look up what the purpose of Jenga is, it is like individual decisions made to make a connection. It's showing how they all need to work together in a time of crisis, because prejudices do not matter, right? So that's the whole theme of the film. That's why you never really know what the attack is. Like, they never go into detail of that really. And I got my own theory on that, and I'll get into that a little later. But so they're playing Jenga, and then the clock shows 11:16. 11:16 is an angel number. Is a reminder that you should stay open to what life brings your way. Lastly, before we move on to the next, which I'll be posting at a different day, but I want to address the 9 and 6 tattoo that's on Ruth's shoulder. 9 is the beginning and ending of things. It's also the representation of the color red. Red can be a symbol of anger, murder, death. And then you have the 6 again. And then 9 plus 6 is 15, which also makes a 6 again. The ironic part about Ruth is that later in the film, she is the one who comes together with Amanda. So she is the ending of Amanda's prejudiceness, right? So once people stop calling my daggone phone and I finish taking the rest of the notes for The Curve, I will do that breakdown. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts on the things that I covered today about the numbering system, the colors, the theory of communication, technology, and all of that. Those are the things I picked up, but tune in for part 2 with